What a wonderful day for an exorcism. Hello everyone and welcome back to IMO Reviews. Today we are sadly discussing The Exorcist Believer. Blumhouse sat down and said, do you know what's scarier than one possessed girl? Two possessed girls. So now we've got a sequel that took no effort or money whatsoever, and it shits all over the original and doesn't even give you a good time in the process because we're all suckers. Genuinely the best synopsis I can actually give for this piece of shit. But let's be fair and discuss the pros. Yep, that's it. Negative time. This movie was every bit as bad as I thought it might be, and then worse. I knew full well going into this that this was just a cash grab. This was just a failed script from 15 years ago that never got made. Someone took it off a shelf, blew the dust off it, and went, you know what, we could just put the title as The Exorcist and suddenly this becomes sellable. Because the amount of effort put into this film is laughably bad. It's like it was written by a 12-year-old. It is nonsensically, hilariously stupid. I hate being one of those people who goes, oh, you don't get it. Because not only is that just a really cheap and frankly insulting way to brush away an opinion that might not agree with yours, but I've had it many a time when people have told me I don't get it, and I just sit there going, no, I do, I just see it differently to you. That is possible. But actually, on this occasion, with Exorcist Believer, I do feel absolutely justified in saying that the people who have worked on this movie don't understand the product that they're working with. You've seen The Exorcist, but you haven't understood The Exorcist. You haven't felt The Exorcist. It hasn't chilled your core and got into your skin and your bones. You have just absolutely sat there with a bucket of popcorn and gone, oh look, twisty head, yum 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 yum. It's not the same. The Exorcist isn't just any other possession movie. It's the definitive possession movie. And actually, I do think that there is still life in this franchise if it's given to the right bloody person. For example, I would genuinely be intrigued to see what Robert Eggers could do with the Exorcist franchise. Even someone like Peter Jackson, who's so full on with his practical effects and believability and landscapes. And at the core, both of them are good storytellers. David Gordon Green, on the other hand, Jesus Christ, man, what was this? I know that you made things like Pineapple Express and Your Highness, but I actually get the impression you were stoned off your face when making this film. It's so pathetically rushed. Nothing got any development whatsoever. It just breezes through any opportunity it has to be interesting. There is never a drop of genuine conflict between the characters' own struggle or between the characters together. There's a bit where the dad doesn't believe in all of this sort of exorcism stuff, and he gets given a book and he's like, yeah, this is a load of tosh, and then literally the next scene he just believes it and he's reading the book and he's like, yep, better go down this path then. Why? What was the trigger that suddenly made you change your mind on this? I guess you're just gonna 180 because the plot says you have to. Here's another point to prove that you clearly don't understand the original film. What you did with Ellen Burstyn here is downright disrespectful. You cannot do that to a legacy character like that. It doesn't make any sense to the established lore of the character that we already know. She wouldn't do that. She wouldn't do anything that she did in this film. I don't know, but that character I saw in this film was not Chris McNeil. It just wasn't. It was just somebody else who also happens to be played by Ellen Burstyn, because it makes no sense at all. And like I said, it serves no purpose other than to quite literally wipe its ass with the original. How ironic is that? The toilet paper version of a masterpiece is using the masterpiece to wipe its arse. Where do you get off? And again, you're not paying attention to the original, because there's a scene in here where it directly says in Chris McNeil's book that she saw Help Me come up on the stomach of Reagan. Press the pause button and go back and watch the original, because I can promise you right now, Chris never knew that there was writing on Reagan's stomach. In fact, when Father Karras is shown the help me on Reagan's stomach, Father Karras is prefixed with the statement, I didn't want Chris to see this. How are you messing up basic historical lore that anybody could have picked up on had they just went back and watched the first one again. Which tells me that you haven't even bothered to go back and watch the first one again. You are absolutely just going, that will bloody do. Because you don't care about this franchise. And trust me, it gets so much worse. Not only is it not scary, not only is it not interesting, the performances are so damn bad. The characters are stupid, they're goofy, they're cartoonish, they're absolute stereotypes with no depth to them whatsoever. Their dialogue does not feel natural, it feels like they are explaining the plot to the audience. It's all taking itself so seriously as well, and it's so brain-dead stupid that it just can't help but come across as bloody hilarious. I was watching this thing laughing my arse off because I just couldn't believe that anybody could ever put this forward and say, we've got a scary movie for you. If you wanted to view this through the lens of being a comedy of the year, 7 out of 10, laughed my arse off from start to finish. But it's not, it's a horror movie. Apparently. They do this thing where they, throughout the film, are essentially assembling the Avengers of Faith. Not kidding. Yeah, they have like a Catholic priest. I think one was a Christian priest. One of them was like an ex-nun. And then you got this other chick who's like herbal remedies, but when they actually come into play, she's basically Gandalf.
Go back to the shadow.
She can like extract smoke out of fireplaces and blast them over people, and there's like black smoke gobbling up orange smoke. It's like, what the is this? I'm sorry for all the swearing, I am quite worked up about this. I love the original film, and this has really annoyed me. I will probably put some censor beeps in to not cause this video to be buried. I'm insulted that it really thinks that this is good enough, but that really is the only positive I can give the film, and I don't even want to give it as a positive because it isn't trying to be a positive aspect of the film. It's actively presenting the Avengers of Faith and thinking this is a genius story idea, really interesting, and we can really push this for some mileage. And that's why it's funny. It's funny because you think that's a good idea. It's funny because you actually thought that's good enough. You're actually giving The Exorcist 2 The Heretic a run for its money. I will say this, The Heretic is worse than Believer, but it's not by bloody much. I would argue The Heretic is way more memorable. There's such mad things in that movie that I'm never going to forget James Earl Jones faking a lion's roar. That absolutely lives rent-free in my head. There was maybe one tiny scene in this film where I thought, that was fine. That's probably the best scene of the entire film, and it was a 6 out of 10 scene. It's just some of the dialogue and the vocabulary that she uses. It's very sharp and striking, and actually, for the briefest glimpse of this movie, it does resemble somewhat of that original piece of work. But not only is it absolutely blink and you'll miss it, but it's frankly inconsequential as well, and doesn't even really need to be in the film.
Even that part in the trailer with the body in the blood, the body in the blood, body in the blood, body in the blood, body in the blood. It's hilarious. They actually think this is scary. How? Please explain to me how this is scary. I thought it was going to drop into a trap remix. Body in the blood. We don't need no water, let the mother burn.
And I'm going to put my foot down on this one because this has also annoyed me. I woke up and chose the violence today, didn't I? But here we go. I've seen a lot of people online giving this movie a pass, and I don't know why. I've heard people saying, you can't compare it to the original, this is doing its own thing, the original is a masterpiece and that wouldn't be fair. This is a rebooted sequel of that original. They want you to watch The Exorcist and then jump straight into Exorcist Believer. Ignore The Heretic, ignore Legion, ignore Dominion. I mean, you should anyway, but that's what they're trying to tell you. Exorcist, Exorcist Believer. That's the new pattern now. So not only is it directly connected to that first movie, not only is it bringing characters from that first movie into here and continuing its story, it's also got the exact same title and is doing the exact same plot beats. You're damn right you can compare it to the first one, and you're damn right you should, because the first one is how you do it. Believer is exactly how you don't do it. Don't go and see this. Don't pay money to see this. They're already planning a trilogy. I don't want a trilogy. I don't think anybody wants a trilogy. And the only way these studios are going to learn is if they don't make any money from them. Halloween in 2018, I actually never saw the original movie. I've heard mixed reports. I've heard some say it was alright. I've heard some people say it was terrible. But I did see the second one and the third one, and I can confirm they are just as bad as Exorcist Believer. You can absolutely tell they're made by the same person because they're just shit, frankly. And if we keep feeding this beast, if we keep on falling for it, if we keep on being suckers, do you know what's going to happen? They'll just do it to Nightmare on Elm Street. They'll just do it to, I don't know, The Babadook. The train won't stop. And it's down to us to make it stop, before they butcher whatever is your favourite franchise. And if you haven't guessed already, I am absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt in my mind, going to give The Exorcist Believer a 1 out of 10. Not good enough. Not even remotely close to being good enough. The script needs another 3-4 goes over, it needs deeply fleshing out, the characters need way more work, the scares are just pathetic, people banging on a window is not scary. A child hiding under a bed, even though they're the one that's demonic, not only doesn't make sense, but again, it's not scary. Thank you for watching this review. Please be sure to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and please do hit the comment section as well. Have you seen Exorcist Believer? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comment section below. And of course, if you haven't had enough of this crazy ginger, well, you can always click on these suggested videos right here and get yourself lost in the IMO wormhole. But if not, take care, and I look forward to seeing you on the next review.